To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. I've said in other videos that Missouri has only 3 seasons, it doesn't have 4. It's got cold, hot, and rain. And so yeah, the winter time is the cold, the summertime is the hot, and then we have 2 rain seasons. One before after winter and one after summer. I've had to cut the grass in the rain several times here. Today I had to fill the IBC tank with water. During the summer that wasn't a big challenge, but now that it's starting to rain, it's becoming not a serious challenge, but a challenge nonetheless. As I have told you before, my well has a crack in the well casing. Now a well casing, what it does is that when they dig the hole, when they drill the hole 100 feet in this case, they stick a pipe straight down, metal pipe, all the way down to bedrock. And what that does is keep out groundwater. So water can come around the ground and leak down into your well, so this steel pipe keeps that out. And so the only thing you're getting is water from the bedrock. Clean, fresh, beautiful water. Well casings only have a life expectancy of 25 years. Now, that's amazing to me considering wells are so expensive. I wasn't aware of this. I thought I had 2 separate problems, and so I fixed both of those, at least one of them temporarily. One, they said I had to concrete here, and that was true. The concrete that was originally here was all busted up and in terrible shape, so I re-concrete the floor of the well. The second problem was the well casing only came up a couple inches out of the ground, and so for a temporary measure, I just put a Folgers can there, covered it up, sealed it up. And so what that does is keep water from just running over into the well. Which, those 2 problems I solved, I fixed it. But I still had some dirty water on occasions, especially after a hard rain. So what I did was I took a flashlight and I looked down the well, and sure enough, I saw water dripping out of the side of the well. Well, I did some research and found out the well casing has a crack in it. That water's coming in, dripping down into the bedrock water. Well, Carolyn and I are going to fix it. It's actually not that hard to fix. But in the meantime, what I got to do is I got to flush out the well after a hard rain. All summer I didn't have a problem with this because it didn't rain during the summer. And so I wasn't getting any groundwater dripping down into the water. Now that it's raining again, that groundwater, the ground is saturated and it's starting to drip down in there. It's no big deal. What I do is I flush the well out. My well pump pumps 30 gallons per minute. Well, the recovery rate on the well itself is like 5 gallons a minute. So all I gotta do is turn the pump up all the way, open it all the way up. It flushes it out in like 15 minutes, no big deal. And I do that 3 times. And then by then, all that dirty water is out of there. It only takes, like I said, 15, 20 minutes for the well to fill back up. Of course, I do use a filter just to ensure that the water's clean. I chlorinate the water with bleach. And then, of course, then I use the Berkey to clean out the bleach in my drinking water. And so I basically have city water sitting here until I can get that fixed. Again, it's a lot better spending the $300 or $400 to fix the well than it would have been to drill a well. Could have been $2,500 to $4,000. Now, obviously, one of the things I want to protect is my tiny house build. I really worry about this because I got doors and OSB plywood and insulation. So I got to be careful. And sure enough, the storm was so strong today that this lifted up and the edges of my OSB got wet. I'm gonna have to tie that down a little better, but fortunately it wasn't any worse than that. My insulation's okay, doors are okay. This is faring well, but the thing with this is I got 2 tarps here. The top tarp got holes in it. I started trying to patch the holes with some sealant, some caulk, but that was useless. So I just got 2 tarps. And that works really well. I got 1 tarp to protect from the water and 1 tarp to protect the other tarp from rips and damages. But I really got to be careful with this. I don't want anything to damage that. A lot of people keep telling me I need to raise the walls and put insulation on and all this stuff. And no, I'll raise all the walls at once. I'll have all 4 walls built. I'll raise them up. And then I can tarp all 4 walls in a manner that it will protect everything. In the previous video, I told you that I had a problem with my IBC tank. I bought this cap off Amazon. And this cap, what it does is I can screw this cap on to this fitting on the IBC tank, and then I have this valve, and that can reduce it down into my RV pump here, right here. So then I can RV pump my water into my camper. Now, before anybody asks, what are you going to do about winter? I'm going to have all this insulated by winter time. This cap had a leak in it last week, so I took JB Weld, and I JB welded the whole thing. And at first that worked pretty well, but then it developed another crack, as you can see, I think you can see, right here. So I decided I was going to go ahead and order another piece. These things are junk. They have really good reviews. I mean, this thing's lasted 6 or 8 months. So we've been closing it off every day at the main valve, not the secondary valve, because that wouldn't make any difference. So when we need water, of course, we have a little bit of a leak. But the biggest problem is that I was worried that that crack was going to get bigger and bigger. But the JB Weld seems to be holding it pretty well, so it doesn't just pop off of there. That really should be popping off. So I'm just going to replace it real quick. This is not hard to do. It just comes right off. And I don't even have to really do much. I can twist it around it. See, it just pops. Every time I do anything, it just pops. I guess that's just going to break off. So that's it. This one's done. This has a fitting right here at the hose. And I'm just going to screw that fitting right off there. That way I don't have to unscrew my hose clamp. And then I can just put on the new one. See, there's a fitting right here. Hose clamp fitting. And I can just use the old one. So now I have the new fitting hooked up. I'll put on the new cap. And so it comes with Teflon tape already attached to it. All I gotta do is screw it on. Sorry about that. I went ahead and assembled it off camera because I was not able to line it up correctly, keep the camera on it, keep talking, and I needed my glasses. So there was just a lot of things going wrong that I couldn't, but it wasn't that hard. You just screw it on and you put the pieces together. It's all self-explanatory. Here's the old piece. You can just see that it broke. So I'm going to buy a backup one, so I always have one on as a spare just in case. That way I don't have to wait around a week and inconvenience Carolyn with having to come out here, turn it on, turn it off, so she can do her chores. I mean, I have to also, but I don't feel that inconvenience. I just feel bad when I, have to force her to do more work than what's necessary. She never complains, and she seems very happy, but I just feel bad all the time if I don't have it where she just turn on a switch and water comes out for her. Now, I've talked about this in a previous video, but I thought I could give a little bit more explanation this time because I'm actually doing it right now. Right now, I'm running the generator. I have 1,000 watts of solar. That means that when the sun is up in the sky, completely covering the solar panels perfectly, producing 1,000. And on partially sunny days, partially cloudy days, I say 80% cloud cover, 70 to 80% cloud cover. Solar panels do a fantastic job. The problem is during these long all-day storms, I mean, we had 50-mile-an-hour winds, trees were blowing, camper was rocking a little bit, and it was dark. The solar panels don't usually kick on until about 6:30 right now, this time of year. It's September 1st, I guess. You'll get this video 6 or 7 days late. The charge controller kicks on about 6:30. That's when there's enough sunlight that there's producing at least 15 volts. Anything under 15 volts means the batteries can actually discharge backwards. They can discharge from the batteries through the solar panels. Now, there's diodes in the solar panels to keep that from happening, but it's a backup system. It was just as dark during the storm as it is, let's say, 6:30 in the morning. So the charge controller shut off. So what I normally do is I turn on the generator and I use a battery charger, like for your car. You can buy them at Walmart in the battery section. And I just charge the batteries with the battery charger connected to the generator. Well, my battery charger just recently burned up and I haven't been to Walmart or I haven't ordered another battery charger. But I'm going to have to, I think. But in the meantime, I found a solution. These little suitcase generators, now I recognize it's going to be a little noisy, but these little suitcase generators come with an AC plug that you can plug in your refrigerator or battery charger or whatever, but it also has a DC plug right here, like a cigarette lighter plug. And so what I did was I have this little cigarette lighter plug in that I can plug right into it. And so I plugged that right into my solar panel charge controller, and it's giving me about 6 amps. Now, the disadvantage to this setup with the cigarette lighter is in order for me to get the 6 amps, I gotta run it on high, which means it's gonna use more gasoline. So right now it's on low. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear this, but listen. That's high, that's low. So what happens is as the generator senses a load on AC, it runs up a little bit and then comes back down. But in order to get enough DC amps, you gotta run it on high all the time. So that's not a really good solution because it uses more gas than what a battery charger does. So there's all the things that have been damaged or I'm having problems with as a result of water. So I hope I can encourage you to think outside the box when you live your dream. Thanks for watching.